Welcome to Jobline, Long Island's only program devoted to career opportunities and workplace issues. I'm Scott Possessor. Later in today's show, we're going to check in with the Hauppauge Industrial Association about their upcoming annual trade show. But first, we're going to talk about financial literacy. With the economy improving, many business owners, job hunters are trying to restore order to their finances, but they really suffer from a lack of all things financial. Financial literacy has become a critical need in today's society, and many believe the housing bubble, the subprime debacle, and the foreclosure mess may well have been caused by a lack of financial knowledge. If you're not sure how to address retirement, estate planning, credit management, long-term care insurance, savings, investing, college planning, you're going to want to hear about a terrific free workshop hosted by my guests who have recently formed Financial Forums, Inc., a professional firm that offers seminars, consultations, and conferences to address financial literacy. Please welcome Henry Montag, an independent certified financial planner and a certified long-term care specialist who has lectured extensively on insurance and investment products throughout the region. Also joining us, Ron Roel, a veteran writer and editor who specializes in aging, financial retirement planning, and real estate issues. Ron is the former editor of Newsday's Real Estate and Act II retirement sections and remains a regular contributor. I could have gone on introducing you guys for some time. You both have a hell of a background, and welcome to the show. Thank you. I know you've been here many times before. Right. Financial literacy, a very crucial topic. We are finally beginning to get some regulations back, to restore order to the stock market, to the entire investment industry. But I am also mortified by what people do not know about toxic loans, about what happened to this country and why it happened and so on. So I think I know where you're coming from, but why do you think it's so important?
Well, I think that, Henry and I met when the financial crisis was still steaming downhill like a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. And none of us knew what to do. We were just looking down. It was like that photo that they take of you as a roller coaster where you're braced and trying to figure out what's next.
Right.
And we knew that there was a lot of talk about greed, regulation needs, and so forth. But the fundamental part of it we felt was missing was financial literacy on all levels. But there were two elements to this. One, that it was starting to affect families, from kids to their grandparents, that no one was spared. And second, it was starting to really affect the workplace, because workers who came to work when their houses were in foreclosure, when they couldn't take care of their parents, companies were losing a lot of productivity. So all the things, just like the financial crisis itself showed, all the dots needed to be connected. So we wanted to create financial forums that would really look at these issues in a more holistic way, that would connect the family to their finances.
Okay, and then, so this is the reason, the genesis for the company.
Right.
Okay, and specifically, what does the company do now?
Well, we've been involved for many, many years in bringing people into the world of finance, and by that I mean almost it's a matter of reintroducing them to themselves. One of the ways we do that is by taking information and resharing it with the individuals themselves. For years, people have been trying doing things on their own, and it hasn't really worked as successfully as it should. We feel that there might be a better approach in doing that, in working through an intergenerational family approach, where people can not just look at themselves and say, what is it that I'm doing, but they might also be able to get some help from a grandparent. They might also be able to get some help from a parent.
Well, one of the things that bothers me, I think we're all so used to, well, if it's finance, I'll throw that to my accountant, and if it's investment, I'll throw that over to my Merrill Lynch guy, and we don't really do anything when it comes to finance, and I think that's what you're trying to change, right?
Right, and we're trying to have the families in conversation with each other,
right,
so that you're looking at actual living options and problems, so that you're not trying to face it, when it just hits you. I mean, many of the things we look at in terms of financial decision making really involve, making sharp turns in your life. And what happens too often is we have this just-in-time kind of mentality. It's like going 60 miles an hour and trying to make a left turn. You're off the road. So we're trying to get families in conversation with what their needs are, what they need to do down the road, and really sharing what their priorities are before they even make their financial decisions.
Okay, great. Now what we're going to do is we're going to just put up a few bullets and go over some do's and don'ts in some of the world of finance. And let's see if the viewers, how sharp they really are. The first one is budgeting and credit. Give me some do's and don'ts.
Well, rather than trying to make a decision each and every month to try to save, using some sort of an automatic savings program where you sign up for it once and your decision is made, and from there on in you're just basically on automatic. Being able to have this philosophy of paying yourself first. People say, well, what do you mean? I pay myself. I've got to pay my rent, I've got to pay this, and I've got to pay that. But the first person, there are two types of people. There are those people that save first and then spend what's left over, and there are those people that spend first and then save what's left over. If you spend first, there might not be anything. If you spend first, there might not be anything left over.
Yeah.
But if you save first, if you pay yourself first, there'll always be left over to pay for the bills.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things I like to stress is what I call a financial weatherization process, where we're talking about our homes, and we try to be energy efficient and plug the leaks and so forth. The same process can be used with your budgeting. So people don't look at, they set up a budget, but then they don't look at things and they don't review them. Even things like for myself, when I sign up for a cell phone plan, I estimate, okay, this is what I'm going to need and this number of minutes and so forth. But then after 6 months, I reviewed it and said, wait a minute, I could knock $20 a month off of this because I'm not using these minutes. So that kind of plugging the leaks and really making your budget airtight.
Okay. And then saving and investing, just talk a little bit about that, because we touched on the family meeting already, but saving and investing.
When people save, just imagine if you could have saved 10% of everything that you've ever earned, how wealthy you'd be and how wealthy we'd all be. People think of it as, everything that I earn is mine, but I say that 10% of what you earn is yours to keep. And regardless of any other expenses, regardless of any other emergencies, just put away 10% of your money and just keep that there for yourself. That money's not touchable. We live in a society today where people just aren't able to save money.
Okay, we had a couple more bullets, which were the family meeting, which you mentioned, retirement and later life planning, which we'll come back to in just a moment. All right, we're going to take a short break here. Up next, we're going to look at the specific types of financial literacy programs that are offered by financial forums, plus information on how to sign up for their free workshop. Jobline will be right back. Welcome back to Jobline and News 12 Long Island. We're continuing our discussion on the importance of financial literacy. Joining me once again are Henry Montag and Ronald Roel of Financial Forums. And very quickly, we never finished retirement and later life planning.
Well, retirement planning is a difficult enough issue, but imagine as people are living longer and as people are unfortunately becoming ill in later life, imagine having to add on an additional $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 per year, how that might interrupt your lifestyle or how that might interrupt a spouse's lifestyle. Those are issues that have to be addressed because, in my opinion, that's one of the most important issues.
All right, and people are going to have to come to your workshop to learn much more about all four of these points, including managing a family and finances. And speaking of that, you have different types of programs, right? And we've got a quick list on that. One is fiscal literacy for kids, which is a brilliant idea.
Right. Well, as we all know, we live in a consumer-based society, and yet there is no formal education as to how to be an intelligent consumer. So we're working on different modules to really bring this information to kids, really starting realistically at the high school age and going through, young adulthood. The idea is not only to go through the basic issues of, budgeting, credit, saving, investing, planning for your first home, but also the component here, what we'd like to do is to combine them with their talking with their parents. Because again, these are family issues that they need to exchange information, understand how their families work, not just independent decisions of kids and parents.
Right, so you kind of hit the next point, which is managing a family and finances.
Well, I think that if a child is just allowed to spend whatever they want to spend and have no values, then sure, mommy buy me this and daddy buy me that. But I think that if a child is asked to have some of their own skin in the game, meaning that if a child is asked to work and that if a child is asked, if you're taking this out of your own savings, would you actually still then go ahead and spend that same dollar? It changes the game a little bit.
Best way was my way, grow up poor. Okay, and then maximizing retirement.
Right. Well, I think that one of the things that we do is we have what I call a retirement-mentality checklist. So you've got to really figure out what are your priorities in retirement. One example is, how do you want to live? What kind of housing do you want? Do you want to live near your kids? Do you want to be what's called a splitter, live half the time here and half the time somewhere else? So we want to really figure out first, what are your priorities? What are the important things before you even figure out what your number is? And then you've got to deal with, as you get older, one of the things that Henry deals with a lot with is we don't really think about the impact of your health as you get older and how much that's going to preoccupy your budget and your family time.
And sometimes the answer to a person's question isn't necessarily in adding additional assets, but merely in rearranging what they've already got and maximizing it.
All right, I want to have time to tell the viewers about the workshops. These are free workshops. The next one is set for Wednesday, June 2nd, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Plainview Long Island Holiday Inn in Plainview. The title is Your Family, Your Finances, and Your Future. And there's another one on Tuesday, June 29th, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., Maximizing Your Retirement Assets. The location has yet to be announced, but you can register now at financialforumsinc.com or call 516-682-3397. That information is also on news12.com. Click on the numbers and links. Gentlemen, I'm so sorry that we're out of time, but the viewers will go, they will learn, it's free, and guys, take advantage. Take advantage.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great having you.